That's enough of that. So, hey everyone, this is Vince Slinging again, and welcome to my first ever. It's the groundbreaking moment right now. This is the first ever. This is Classic Plastic Critiques Live. It's never been done live before. I have never, in the history of ever, done one of these live, and that's a shoot. I'm shooting from the hip, cowboy. So yeah, basically, I just felt like doing this. I'm trying to get my mind off of some kind of stressful factors right now. Nothing I really need to get into, just it's things that you need to deal with in life. And that's kind of why I decided to do this like in a very sudden and very abrupt stream right now. So I hope everyone's doing alright. And I hope everyone's having a wonderful evening right now. We're going to be reading a handful of... Wait a minute, I just realized. I still got the thing up. So let's take this stuff... No, that's for when the stream ends. So, take this down. No, Yo Romero's not your time yet. Okay, there we go. Put the spooky borders up. And window... No, that's the wrong window. Come on, which... right here. You are experiencing Phantom Desktop, a new look and feel for Phantom. I don't care Doesn't matter how many times you try to dress up your garbage website, it's still garbage. Was it always this? I think I zoomed it in so people could read along. No, I think that was for Wattpad Wednesdays, I think. Was it? No, it wasn't. I'm misremembering. So, I'm hoping that you're all having a good time, so let me just find some spooky mood music, as I often do, so we can set the tone for the sheer terror that we're going to undergo as we read along. Okay, just don't mind me. Yeah, long story short, it's basically the stress of moving, and all that entails. It's not like some heavy-duty like burdens that I'm undergoing right now. It's just you don't know what needs to go where and whatnot, and it's a whole thing. But no one really cares about that. You're not here to hear me bitch about my personal traumas and tribulations, although you should be. And the fact that you're not willing to listen actually tells me a lot about you as my fans or potential fans. I think real fans would basically function as my personal journal and let me just upload all my insecurities onto you. That's what a fandom is for, really. When you really get down to it, fans are there to shoulder all of your burdens, and they should be prepared at all times to take on that arduous task. If they truly wanted to be fans, then you would always, at all times, basically be like basically like your agency doesn't really matter. Okay, I think I'll play some Iron Cthulhu Apocalypse music. You can find an absurd amount of dark ambient tracks if you're into that genre. Dark ambient is one of my personal favorite genres. On their Bandcamp, they have I think it's fair to say almost close to 100 now different albums by different artists that they have culminated right now. I don't know if it's a collaborative project, where it's just different artists using that kind of banner to put their stuff down. It kind of invokes Lovecraftian mythos and all those kind of otherworldly horrors that I also thoroughly enjoy. Hey Vince, can we have a look at Pol Pot Creepypasta article? No. We know that Pol Pot was a creeper. I think that goes without saying. I forgot about... that was on the Spin Pasta wiki, right? Because the whole point of classic creepypasta is that I'm supposed to be reading... Hold on. Spinpasta.fan. Or was I? I'm supposed to be reading stories that are considered classic, and I don't think The Disappearance of Ashley, Kansas quite qualifies. I did, on my own, read this about maybe 2 months ago, and I remember enjoying it, although I haven't retained much in the way of, I haven't really retained much in the way of actual memories of it, to be honest. The memory of a goldfish. I can't say that because goldfish at least know that they have to, move or I die. What the fuck? What is this fuckness right here? Keep your garbage writing off of my JoJo. Let's see, what was it? It was on the Creepypasta wiki too, I think. And if there's a little, I don't know how the quality of the audio comes out right now when I speak. I actually packed my microphone stand and everything, and I'm using my sister's microphone stand. We have the exact same of microphone, but this one I'm holding in my hand because I didn't want to borrow their stand too. I settled for taking it and using it without their permission, but I had to draw the line when it came to using the stand too. I thought that was... Wait, what? Does anyone know why the Creepypasta 2 wiki got... wait, is that got closed now? I guess no Pol Pot thing for us. This needs to read Avatar fanfiction on the stream. It's probably the weirdest things on the planet. I don't need to do that at all, actually. We're talking about Avatar The Last Airbender or Avatar the movie? Because I think I can already know, based on the demographic that usually enjoys Avatar, young. I'm not talking about like anything like outrageous. I'm talking about like younger people. I already know just from that there's a lot of weirdness and degeneracy and spurgery that goes on with that fandom, and the not creepypasta, the fan fiction that entails. That's why I'm always like annoyed when people. Well, not annoyed, but I'm always like surprised when people are like caught off guard by like the shit that goes down in that fandom and the Steven Universe fandom, and it all falls down to one common denominator, and that's just it's young people with no real frame of reference on things, and they kind of just insert whatever weird like shit they're into it. So we're gonna start things off. We're gonna be reading a few short. These are like an historical archive. I prefer the term classic because it sounds pretentious. But what do I know? Yeah, I got my suggestion. It's right here. The Disappearance of Ashley Cairns. You told me about this before, and I did read it and enjoy it. But I don't. I remember a few plot details and nothing else. Like I remember certain plot points in the vaguest of terms, but for some reason, like the exact details of everything, like kind of escaped my mind. It has been a few months, to be fair. Although I chalk it up into me being very slow. So we're going to be reading The Hiker first. We're going to be reading the short stories first to get them out of the way, because kind of the point of the series is to read and critique stories that are considered, I guess, the forerunners of creepypasta as a genre, and evaluate whether or not they still hold up like so many years later after they initially came out and were like read with some level of critical acclaim. So I'm going to try to find short ones to start off with, and then we're going to go on to the Disappearance of Ashley Kansas to kind of cap it off a little bit. Okay. So I know, okay, this one is very short. And oddly enough, it only has 2 comments, although I kind of chalked it up into people not being curious enough to really delve into a lot of the Bunnyman Bridge. I remember this story. That was longer than I thought it was. I think we can cover this up. Okay, we're going to do a Pokepasta. The Boyfriend. Boiler Room, that sounds interesting. The Blue Man. The Blue Man. All the Avatar fanfiction I've read hasn't been degenerate stuff. It's just been shipping. So I've made my feelings on the concept of shipping kind of known. And I'm not saying that, like, if you think to yourself, these 2 characters, they actually seem like they kind of fit for each other. Like, I don't think that's a big deal. Like, it's just fan shit, whatever. But there have been a few times where I thought, like, those characters kind of, like, if they were to get together, they actually would be kind of fit for each other. Like, one of my favorite series is Ippo the Fighter, Hajime no Ippo. It's a boxing manga and anime. And one of the characters is like this chiropractor, physician type character. And one of the Takamura, who's like the strongest man in the world and the best boxer in the world, he is a horny, lustful idiot. And that's the one person who isn't intimidated by him and can't be threatened by him because she's as good at judo as he is at boxing. And I kind of thought that balanced it out. And also, I can't really spoil anything, but I had a moment where I thought, like, those 2 actually got together. Like, she would be a really good fit for him to kind of keep him in check. So it's that kind of shit. But when you get into arguments about people, when you do what that one fucking dipshit did, you remember the one who, I think he, like, stole a manuscript that was supposed to be leaked or something like that for the Voltron animated show, and his demands were either you make my canon ship official, or I leak this onto the internet. And at that point, I honestly think that person should have been beaten to death. Maybe not. Okay, that's a bit extreme. Like, I don't know. My gut reaction is to absolute contempt for people like that who operate like that with that sense of entitlement. It sickens me to my very core that they went that far just because they wanted their stupid, like, fictional characters to bone each other. It pisses me off. Okay, so this is The Hiker, and it was written by Black-Eyed Clown. Ooh. I was through hiking the I know how to pronounce this. I've pronounced it before. Pronunciation. I'm smart. Damn it. Appalachian Trail. Trail last year. When I got lost and I found myself in the trail, in a strange dark hollow with heavy moss and one running stream. It was getting dark and starting to rain. I found a cave just above the creek bed, and there were no bear attacks, so I went for shelter. Bear tracks! Oh my god. Anyone remember the time Danganronpa's cosplayed someone to their grave? I never heard of that. I don't know anything about Danganronpa. I know a lot of people like it, and my sister, I think, is a peripheral fan. They have a lot of I think they have a few of those games. Those are like a visual novel type games, right? I've never been too big on visual novels myself, but there are a few I like though. And by the way, I just want to say for the record that Doki Doki Literature Club is very overrated. The meta textual horror was overplayed in that game, and actually took when real life like shit was happening in that game, like real world problems that people have, and it was unsettling and uncomfortable. Like that's when the game had me hooked. And then when it did that metatextual horror shit, I was like, oh, I'm just playing. Oh, whew, this is just playing a spooky game. Who cares? That's just me though. I'm a very cynical bastard, so that maybe that's why. But tell me, Mr. Shadler, please, Shadier, please tell me about that story. I had no idea about that, and I actually would be interested to learn more about it. There were no bear tracks, so I went in for shelter. Sometime in the night, a bear did come right into the cave. I had to find a way out. Keeping my head, I crawled deeper into the cave and found a passage too small for the bear to fit. It led to a long crawlway ending in a little alcove. It had no light, and I was terrified. But the sound of the bear in the bigger room faded away. This room was cozy, with what felt like mounds of soft moss and crackly leaves all over the floor. A breeze blew through the leaves, though I couldn't see them. It seemed to move all over. They tickled me all night long, making it hard to sleep. The next morning I crept back out to see if the bear was gone. He was. So I exited back into the hollow. I had a terrible rash all over my body from the itchy bedding that I slept on, and I couldn't stop scratching as I gathered my stuff and went down to the creek looking for a road and some directions back to the trail. I found another trail along the creek, and in a few hours it ended on a dirt road. There I rested, trying to decide which way to walk for help. My skin was bleeding in spots now, and pustules were forming in the itchiest places. I thought I might need some cream or something. A game warden jeep came around the bend. When the warden saw me sitting on the trail and stopped. "You planning on going up there?" He asked, gesturing to the trail that came down. No, actually. I began, but the itching on my skin made me stop short to scratch. Well, if you are, just stay the hair clear from Spider Nest Cave. Huh. The story is bad, it's cliche, like suspenseful. There are too many grammar. Come on, man. It wasn't that bad. I thought it was all right. This was an all right, short little, like an old-fashioned campfire tale. Like, so, this is one of those stories where it feels like it's in the same vein of the escape man with a hook for a hand who came out of a mental asylum and the hook was on the door, and that's a kind of stinger at the end. Like, it's a nice little thing. I wouldn't say that it's like outright horrifying. It's more, I guess, on a crawling on your skin level of fear. And honestly, that's a sensation that I kind of wish that more stories would be going for. It seems to me that that's kind of lost in the it gets lost in translation, and it kind of gets lost over time. No one really cares to like try to take a more subtle approach to it. I mean, I would argue that again, yeah, that criticism that person put forward, I think it does have a little bit of teeth to it. Like, there's not a lot of weight to this. Like his skin bleeding, and like the rashes and whatnot. Like, I think more time should have been spent in the cave itself. Like, he wells up, he like sits in the cave, and more descriptions of like the bedding and the environment. Like, basically for us to get a mental image of what seems to be like a very mundane environment. And so we get as comfortable with the environment as the protagonist that we follow right now. But we kind of just skimmed over that. And so the ending where it's like, oh, it turns out he was like sleeping on spiders and like giant spider webs, it doesn't quite hit as hard as it could have. Because I think that we weren't privy to the environment as that he was in as long as we should have been. And because of that, the twist at the end, like, the twist makes sense. Like, it's really easy to follow. It's just that, I don't know, it kind of comes off as kind of limp-wristed and weak. I still think the story was decent. I don't think it was as bad as that person said. Like, it's a cliche. Yeah. It's. I guess it kind of cliche. A cliche format at the very least. What the fuck is this? What is this? Okay, thank you, Shaggy. So yeah, I think this is all right. Is this worthy of being historical archived? This definitely feels its age, and I would be interested to see what this person is writing nowadays. But yeah, so thus far, I think we started things off relatively well. I think that we can only go up from here, really. Especially with this, Buried Alive model. The best creepypasta. Buried Alive model, often referred to its code, the Berryman script, has been found on the final story of Pokemon Tower, and what has now been replaced with the Marowak Ghost. According to the scripts assigned to it, the Buried Alive model was intended to be the quote-unquote boss of the tower. Once reaching the top floor, the following conversation would have taken place. Buried Alive, you're here. Buried Alive. No, they're just bah. Not Buried Alive, bah. I'm trapped. I'm lonely. So very lonely. Won't you join me? After this, the battle would have been initiated. Once in the battle view, quote-unquote, the Buried Alive model appears to be a decaying human corpse attempting to crawl out of the ground. It has been programmed to have 2 white hands, a Gengar, and a Muck. The way that's phrased, it sounds like those are the names of his hands, or maybe the Pokemon are literally his hands. I don't know, I've heard of stranger things. Strangely enough, a protocol for Buried Alive actions after his defeat were not written. In the case of the player defeating him, the game would freeze. However, a specific ending was written by an unknown programmer upon losing the battle. In the ending, the Buried Alive model was to have stated, "Finally, fresh meat! The father is here. Hey, the father." Trademark. TM. You need to put TM at the end. Like, I think most people should put TM at the end of their screen name so people know. So people know what's up. Followed by several lines of gibberish. There would have been he was to drag the player into the ground, the player character into the ground surrounding him. The scene would have finished with a typical game over screen. However, in the background, the image of the Buried Alive character devouring the player was to shown. Especially strange were the protocols for after the scene. The cartridge was to download this. No, it was not. Download. Yo, why does this whack Pokemon want to throw his hands with me? Maybe because you're a punk pussy bitch. You ever thought about that? Apostrophe music? No, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean that. I mean, I did mean it, but I'm going to say I didn't mean it so you feel better. The cartridge was to download a small image, the small internal memory contained of the Game Boy, overriding the title screen and download. Okay, overriding the title screen that normally accompanied the Game Boy turning on. Instead, whenever it was started, the player would view this image as the sound of a static mesh.wav was playing. The intended purpose of this effect, unlike many of the other factors leading towards Lavender Town syndrome, is unknown. Well, okay, let's just watch this video now, guys. How to fight with a buried alive. Well, I'm an epic gamer, and I like epic gamer secrets. So, let me make sure we can all see. I just realized that there's a giant empty space right next to the window where my thing usually is, and it's not there. So, let me see what I can do about that. There we go. Slenderman Gangnam Style. I'm hip. I know what's up. I know what the kids like. Oh my god, ow. My ears. Okay. Watching. The ghost can't be ID'd. We don't know if it's of legal age. Okay. I'm waiting. Be gone, intruders. Yes. Okay, when are we gonna get to the fucking zombie? Did we get to the zombie at any point? Okay, there we go. Wait, where? Wait, join me. I just love it's fucking, wait, what? Oh, that's bullshit. That's some bullshit right there. Level 94. Yeah, like, I just love the fact that there's, there you go, the father. What was I saying? I just love the fact that it's the fucking gym boss music for this. Wait. What, did he use dig or something? Like, did it use dig or, is that acid armor? Acid armor was in the first game? I don't remember that. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Hang in there, Charles. Okay. Damn. Me too. Wait, what? Wait, hold on. What was that one at the bottom? Oh, you fucker. You did the fucking... Wait, why are you there? Can you get the... Can you get the silk scope without... Because that mix up text makes me think that they did the missing note glitch. So could you just like actually go and get that? I don't know. Like I think there's some nonsense afoot. I think there's some skullduggery. I'll be honest though, because this is this is a very sharp contrast as to, you know, from when we were covering Ben Drowned, and those videos are actually kind of unnerving and had an unsettling tone to them because it just felt like something is wrong. Thank you for blowing into the microphone. That does not look like a hand. Oh no. I forgot to turn the music off. There we go. Oh, fuck. Does anything of interest happen? Okay, so that was a waste of time. Thank you. Yeah, this is bad. I don't like. I was well. It's kind of hard to. Oh, what top 5 Pokemon creepypasta? Who's this? Candy Eevee? 2.2 million view. Oh. Well, you know, if there's an audience for it, I can't talk shit. There's something for somebody. Yeah, this was not very good. Surprisingly, a Pokemon-related creepypasta, a video game creepypasta, did not age well for some reason. Yeah, this is. I think my primary issue with this is that I don't think that a lot of people who make stories like this realize that there needs to be some level of credibility that goes into writing stories like this. Like, don't try to have it come off as semi-realistic or have a realistic tone to it, or like a grounded tone, if you're not gonna completely commit to the premise itself being realistic. Like, yeah, there was a game. Like, apparently, you can just die and be killed by a zombie in a random fucking part in the game. Because, I don't know, I think in general, again, this might be some cynicism on my part. That's just how I feel about it. Where I feel like if you can't really do anything, you can't do anything with that premise because it kind of flies against what we know is consistent with the games. Like, we know that that there's a bit of a scary tone that comes with certain portions of Pokemon, and some of them have kind of fucked up connotations, and there's a lot of stories to be told with that, but you got to actually work within those parameters, and you can't stretch that premise too far. Like, the fact that there's a Pokemon Tower for deceased Pokemon, like, oh fuck, Pokemon can get killed, they can die. One person mentioned straight up that Team Rocket, the silly Billy fucking dumb idiots from the anime, remember how silly Jesse and James are? No, they fucking kill Pokemon. That's unsettling. Like, you know, death is a concept in this world that seems kind of like not flowery, but kind of seems kind of chipper and optimistic. But then someone takes that to the nth degree and they make it like, oh, also in the game there's a zombie that comes up and you can't beat it and it kills you and your game won't work ever again. That was programmed, but for some reason they decided to take it out. I guess because for some, like, they kind of got over the weekend bender and they realized how stupid and ill-fitting it was. But I don't know. I think what makes it, what would make me more inclined to not be so hasty and not be so quick to dismiss it based on the premise is if you go like completely over the line and like fully embrace the absurdity of it. Like, I remember that Lavender Town Syndrome pasta being very over the top in its depictions of certain characters as being almost like super villains. And it kind of worked because once you set that tone and you take out any sense of credibility and you just focus on telling an interesting story, I think that's fine. Now, it kind of raises the question of why you would use that this specific game as a vehicle to when it really isn't warranted. When you show that you can make an interesting story without the game itself even being mentioned. But, you know, still, like, I think there's something to do with that. Like, one of my favorite sequels of all time is Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. I love, like, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is my favorite horror movie, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is my favorite sequel of all time. And those two movies are diametrically, completely, 100% different from one another. They couldn't be any more different if you tried. Like, I would even go so far to say that Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 feels like it deliberately takes the piss out of everything that was established with the prior movie. And what I love about it is that it goes full force. It feels like it's almost like a dig at horror movie sequels, slasher film sequels, where they need to escalate things and make things as over the top as possible and take certain parts of the character and just, like, you know, there's a term, Flanderize. Just Flanderize every aspect of the character. Like, you remember that weird dance that Leatherface did at the end of the First film, because he was very angry and confused and didn't know what to do with himself, so he was like swinging the chainsaw. Well, now every time Leatherface is on screen, he fucking does that weird dance where he like throws a chainsaw over his head and like squeals. Every single time he appears on screen, he stops, holds the chainsaw over his head, and screams before going after someone. Like, remember the hitchhiker character in that film? Like, let's have someone who's even creepier and is literally like scraping a metal plate off of his, the skin off the top of his head because he has a metal plate on it. It's I love it. It's so fun, and the whole fucking murder theme park, where it's like bodies, like hundreds and hundreds of dead bodies in this one theme park that these three guys, like this older man and this crazy dude who came back from Nam with a plate in his head and a dude with a chainsaw, managed to like compile a giant fucking like theme park full of corpses to cook and to prepare. And like, I love it. You got, like, I'm just saying, either commit to like going completely absurd or just like completely ignoring the premise entirely. Or you got to work with the premise. And you gotta work with the source material. This is not working with the source material. It's just like, I don't know, it's just, it doesn't really do anything besides like, oh, by the way, there was a zombie in there. So, that was that. So, let's see what other spooky, scary stories we can, Marina Mogar something, I can't remember his name. Oh god, fucking noise. Is that the video where like someone has it to like smile at the end? My ears. My fucking ear, ow. Yeah, at the end he like goes like, hold on, smile. There we go. God, my ears. Ben sent his goons to my house, not clickbait. I don't need goons. I'm all man. The Midnight Game. There's a lot to unpack here. Mario, maybe? No, I'll say that for its own little thing. I'll probably do that as a doubleheader with another video game creepypasta. It's gonna be some time until I am able to do another video because, again, I'm moving soon. Like, literally next week. Mask Man. And we gotta get the home situated and gotta look around the neighborhood and whatnot. It's a whole thing. The Masked Man. Oh, okay, this is really, I can't read that. I'm trying to look for shorter stories before we read on, go into the other one. Oh. The stream is giving me the idea to review Avatar fanfiction live and make fun of it. Anything, take a break from making music. Yeah, go for it, brother. I don't know, in general, I don't... Like, I like reading Wattpad because... I think it's said jokingly, but... It's... Lightless City? What's Lightless City? Okay. Where was it? You said it was... Is that a story? Oh, there it is. The city is my church. It's by Kai Simpson. Or is that Cal Simpson? Cal Arch Simpson. Let's turn the spooky music up a little bit. Nah, it's fine. Never mind. Oh, okay, The Light of the City by Cal Simpson. It's a ritual pasta. Okay. Do you have someone you hate? Someone you would do anything to hurt? Pay any price for vengeance? If so, you may want to consider visiting Lightless City. To get there, go to any decent-sized city and find a deserted alleyway at night. Go into it and close your eyes as tightly as you can. Whisper Lightless City and concentrate on the darkness. You've probably noticed that there are faint colors and abstract shapes that you can make out if you try to focus your eyes when they're closed. Watch those images go by. After a few minutes, the images should start to get clearer and brighter. When this happens, they'll start taking on detailed forms, images of violent murders, deformed animals, and similar things. No matter what you see, keep your eyes closed. You'll start to lose track of time, but eventually the images will stop, and you'll see pure darkness. Nothing but deep black. No colors or shapes. When you're certain that you see pure darkness, open your eyes. You will now be in a very dark city. There won't be a single light or star in the sky. You should be able to see a faint dark blue outline of the tall buildings surrounding you. Make your way out of the alley and walk as quietly as you can down the sidewalk in any direction. If you hear any movement, run as quickly as you can away from the noise. There are animals in Lightless City. It's too dark to make out the details, but they're the size of large, wild felines that will kill any human they catch. Keep moving until you reach an area with a smaller building, the edge of the city. A child will approach you, his face dully glowing, letting you see that he is eyeless. He will ask, "Will you share your light with me?" Say yes. The child will reach for your face and rip out your right eye. It'll be painful, but there shouldn't be any bleeding or an open wound. The child will thank you and leave. Keep walking and a tall man will appear before you. Whose light do you wish to have taken away? Speak the name of the person you hate, and as soon as you say their name, they will go completely, irreversibly blind. Is your hatred satisfied? The man will ask. If it is, say yes, and you'll be awakened in the alley. If not, say no, and the man will disappear. Keep walking, and you will come across another eyeless child. Will you share your light with me? Say yes, and your left eye will be torn out, leaving you blind. Keep walking. The tall man will appear again, although you, of course, will have to rely on his voice. Whose life do you wish for the darkness to claim? Say the name of the man you hate, and they will die. You will not be asked if your hatred is satisfied this time, and you will not be able to return to the alley. I told you to make sure you really hated someone before doing this. You'll spend the rest of your life wandering around the lightless city blind, with your own hatred to keep you warm. For some people, that's enough. I mean, that was interesting. I don't know if it was really all that scary. Like there are people say like, creepy. And I guess the setting that you get teleported into in the story is creepy. Like I imagine like a completely pitch black city where you can only see the outline of a light shining atop the building, like shining past the buildings, and that's unnerving. There's like wild animals there. It's interesting. This was an interesting read. I think it was worth my time. I don't really have much to say about it. I don't really have much to say about ritual pastas in general, really. I typically stay away from them because, I don't know, like, again, it falls upon my skepticism and cynicism creeping up every now and again. Like, I don't buy into a lot of... I don't buy into any ritual pasta whatsoever. Although, like, you have to, like, I don't mind rituals when they're mentioned in this context of another story that kind of hinges on them, like the Candyman, for instance. I to this day will not say Candyman 5 times in the mirror. I refuse to. And I'm a rational skeptic. At least I like to think I am. It's like that line from Groundskeeper Willie in The Simpsons. It's like, oh, I got fired from my job as a janitor, and I'm too paranoid. I'm too superstitious to get the job at the cemetery. Yeah, I know for a fact Candyman will not come, but on the off chance he might, just in case, let's not take any chances. But that was just a small part. That was a part of a larger story. It was a part of a larger narrative. Like, that's one of the reasons why, again, like, stories that are just the ritual itself being outlined, they don't really do anything for me. I kind of appreciate this one a little bit more because kind of goes for something a little bit more substantial. It tries to actually tell to weave a slightly interesting narrative with the setting and the almost the weird allegorical entities like the tall man and the child who has to take your light, and by take your light he means take your vision. You know, and I'm like, oh, I didn't even think about it that way. So that was another one. That was pretty interesting. I thought it was pretty worth the read. A comfy and cozy cabin. I think I know this one. No, this is not the one I was thinking. Wow. How long is this? Okay, I'm gonna bookmark this story for another time. Yes. I think a comfy and cozy cabin, I think of Lakeview Cabin. I love Lakeview Cabin, by the way. I wish more people would play it. Like, it's a very unsettling game. Like, the prep work you do prior to the threat itself being present in the game is more unnerving than most other games I've ever seen. What the fuck? I just realized Fish Stick on a Stick is going to stream at 6. The motherfucker. And he's screaming Donkey Kong Country. The bastard. How dare he step on my shine. He knows. Well, he probably had a plan at 4 like me, and he bumped it up because he knew he couldn't compete with me. Makes sense. I mean, I am. Oh, Ninetale. I don't know why I didn't register with Ninetale Legendary. How have you been? I haven't seen you in the comments in a while, and I've been kind of distressed. I enjoy speaking to you specifically. You're okay at posturing music. I think you're all right, but not as good as Ninetale Litigant or Lilligant. I think that's I don't know where I got Litigant from. So where were we? I'm not going to read this right now. I'm going to bookmark this for another time. I want to read this. A story that long. I'm always interested when it comes to creepypasta that are more long form, because I don't know. Even I've said before, I don't like Banning and I don't like his writing, but I have a respect for people who will like sit down and apparently have the vision and the patience to put pen to paper and like really have long stories like that. Yeah, I'll save it for another time. I have a bookmark, so I'll never forget. I don't forget anything, except for the times I do. Cul-de-sac. Okay. I love Ed and Eddie. Mm-hmm. Now, I'll read that with Fish Stick on a Stick. If I ever drag him from fucking California, House of Rage and Empty Phantasm all live in California, and I wish I had the money to rescue them. Die before you sleep. Oh, this is a. Oh yeah, I remember Jacob said that he didn't know that. That yeah, it's right here. It's a thing. My shit right here, Dogscape. My favorite, my all-time favorite fucking creepypasta. Any changes been made? Anyone talking shit about my bae, my boo? I will fight them in the street. Mutant Future, Nails. Nails. Okay. Oh, why not? Let's go. They say that the hour of... Oh, wait. Who wrote this story? Not here. They say that the hour of 3 a.m. is a time when spirits become active. And I'm sure of that. My apartment was always a little too quiet for one in the city, especially at night. No drunk shouting in the street at that time. No sound of car horns or alarms could penetrate the dark at this particular hour. It's like my apartment was on a high platform, surrounded only by a dense fog, and the sharpest of hawk eyes couldn't penetrate. Excuse me. Sorry, just adjusting something right now. Kind of chilly in my room. It just rained. And this heat wave is either freezing cold or it's, wait, I have the air conditioner on, that's why. I could go and turn it off, but then I wouldn't have the air conditioner on. That's a problem. I'm going to drink my orange soda right now if you people don't mind. I'm going to take a big, hearty sip for you people at home, but I'm going to do it away from the microphone. You just got to take my word for it. Hell yeah. Jay's Station become a creepypasta. Oh yeah. I love. Jay's Station. Fuck. I imagine having a demographic that easy to appease and feeling the need to fucking do that stupid, like the kind of stupid shit that you do in order to keep yourself relevant. Because J-Station fans aren't particular. You could have just kept pandering to them, but you kept acting like an ass. Like, I don't like Tom Scott, but Tom Scott knows the deal. Like, when it comes to my projects, people don't care about anything I do except for the fucking ACLP. What's it called again? ASM animated series. Like, I think that's what it's called. Hold on. I'm gonna look it up right now just to make sure I'm right. Everyone knows the Tom Scott. You know, beat Bomber Sheep having a democratic. Look, I'm not good at talking. I thought I made that very clear that I'm quite dense, quite slow, low energy. ASDF movie, yeah, that's what they're called. Yeah, they're simple, straightforward, and if you actually follow them to some degree on social media, I don't, because I don't want to. But he's the kind of guy that it clearly upsets him that people don't like anything but ASDF. Like, I think that he feels he can do much better than that. But he knows where the money comes in, so he keeps doing them. And it sucks that you're best known for something that you feel is beneath you, but it is what it is. Be grateful that you have it. J-Station, all he needed to do was make shitty 3 a.m. videos. That's all he needed to do. And he threw it all away. Let's fake that my girlfriend killed herself. Killed herself. Fucking, like, died in a car accident. God, that dude's retarded. My apartment. Okay, where were we? It's like my apartment was high on a platform, surrounded only by dense fog that the sharpest of hawk-eyes couldn't penetrate. I was usually attempting to sleep at that time, after bleaching my skin in the pure electric light of my computer screen. Emphasis on the phrase "attempting," because from that stems this tale. I'd advise you. Like AVGN or the guy who wrote Sherlock Holmes. Yeah. Did you guys see that last? Because AVG, like, James Rolfe is like the guitarist in this band called Rex Raptor. And they made one song that I thought, hey, this is pretty cool. This sounds pretty good. And they did a cover of Burning Hearts. And Burning Hearts is one of my favorite songs of all time. It's one of my favorite workout songs. And it is probably my favorite Rocky song. Yes, more than Fry Now, more than Eye of the Tiger. And I was not a fan of their rendition of it, especially the singer. I've been going on a lot of tangents, and we're reading a story called The Nails. I'm sorry, did you say Raptor? Is that what wasn't it Rex Raptor? Yeah, I read Lightless City. Hold on, let me look it up right now. I'll be honest, I'm probably gonna end the stream around 6ish because I want to tune into Fish Stick on a Stick stream, so I'm gonna try to not belabor this as much as I can, but I'm gonna look it up right now. Why? What's happening with my laptop right now? Guys, what's happening with my laptop? What did you do? Oh shit, did I accidentally close? I shouldn't. I accidentally closed that. Wow. I'm stupid. I think it's Rex Viper or something. I think it's Rex Viper. It's like the instrumentals aren't terrible. They're actually kind of all right. It's just yeah, he made it. It was like Nintendo Power of Love and Mighty Wings and Hadoukens. That was a pretty decent song. And then they did Hearts of Fire, which I don't like it. It doesn't sound good. It was very not good. I like how everyone knows Spouse from I'm Awesome, even though that is mediocre compared to his other music. I'm saying that because I support my fellow main rappers. I have no idea who you're talking about. I'm not too familiar with the rap game. Real quick. I would like everyone who's currently listening to press F in chat for the Clown Prince of Prime, the Clown Prince of Rap, Biz Markie, unfortunately passed away last night, yesterday. I think it was early this morning, actually. Damn, where it was announced he had passed away. So, if you're not familiar with the guy, that's the guy who did Just a Friend, The Vapors, Boogers. He was a legend. He was. If you didn't like Biz, like I can understand. I mean, I can understand people having bad taste and not liking his music. But if you didn't like Biz Markie as a person, I don't want anything to do with you. He seemed like the funnest, nicest dude in the world. He was like I don't know. He's just like this weird, huggable teddy bear of a human being. We just like to joke around and whatnot. I mean, again, the guy made a song about picking his nose and boogers. He was a beatboxing legend too. So, I will pour this drink out, but it's not I think you need to pour out alcohol. And the only alcohol I have are vodka, and I ain't pouring that out for no man. I'm sorry. Unless it's like the end of the world and I absolutely need to. Emphasis on the phrase attempting, because from that stems his tale. I advise you, if you've been here long enough to find it, you'll discover what I'm talking about. I should tell you already, I should really tell you anyway, so, just so you know that I'm not insane. That you're not, okay, slow down. Take a deep breath. You'll soon discover what I'm talking about. I should really tell you anyway, just so you know that you're not insane. I know I'm not. Every night for the past 4 months, a strange sound will pierce the strange blur that surrounded my home, or maybe just my mind. I searched the apartment many times for it, but behind the hollow-sounding ivory walls and the hard pine floors, I couldn't find any source. The sound at first was like scratching. If you have fingernails, drag them along the table. This table's too smooth. I can't make any sound. Remember the deal on the Night Owl theorizing that AVGN couldn't quit the AVGN persona once the movie didn't fail. What is he talking about? Are you talking about the movie failed to cap off the character? Like people wanted more of him? I don't know, like honestly when it comes to I think like James Rolfe, if he really wanted to, could end the character. I legit think that he I think he like just does it now because he enjoys doing it. The quality of his recent videos kind of fluctuates, but for the most part I still enjoy him. Like I don't like any review he does that involves like skits. I like the ones that are just like him talking. Like some of my old favorite AVGN videos are just him just talking about a game and like giving his commentary. I suppose it's the guy who made the song Thanks Obama, and that's how the meme started. I did not know that. I always thought it was like some kind of weird sarcastic thing made by like conservatives. Like, I don't know anything. It was as dramatic as a ghostly weight rhythm on table. Like that. It was slow, and every time I heard it, I froze up. It wasn't as dramatic as anything like a ghostly moaning or anything like that, but it still scared me so much that I reverted to my childhood and stuck my head under my blanket. During the day, I worked at what could possibly be the most boring place on earth, a factory that stamped out cans. They didn't even need workers, but I didn't really care. It paid the bills, and getting to sit around until someone needed help fixing a machine wasn't too bad. I sort of miss it. There was always something bad happening, though. In retrospect, I feel as though it was following me. For instance, a man's hand ended up getting caught in a stamping machine under a sheet of aluminum. The crunch was sickening, like a dog chewing upon a bone. That same splintering sound. Every night I would retire to this slightly gory boredom of my apartment, back to my beloved computer. The cycle was always the same. Work, computer, scratching sound. I never really thought to ask anyone about it. I would usually forget about it by the morning. But one day I didn't. I sat there in my folding chair at work, surrounded by the drab, bleak gray concrete walls, and a long ignored cigarette that gradually became one trembling tower of ash in my grasp, trying to think of a way to discover what this thing was. Why wouldn't I just follow it, get my nerves together, and find the continual source of the fear for me? It was me. It made me cold just at the thought, but I knew I had to do it. So at night, I turned on the computer as usual, and then took one extra step. I grabbed the flashlight. It would be faster than dashing across the room to my light switch. It could even be nice, I thought to myself as I slipped into bed, wearing the hero's garb of a sleepy man, a pair of boxers and socks. At least if I ran crying out of the building, a few people would get a laugh. The clock slowly began to turn towards 3 o'clock. My heart began to pound nervously. Like a sword, I held the turned-off flashlight to my bare chest. The necklace around my neck felt strangely cold, even though I had 3 comforters on. Oh, the joys of a particularly cold winter. Closing my eyes, I heard the scratching. Slowly it got louder. My hand began to shake, but I kept my eyes shut. Why wasn't I turning on the light? Why wasn't I looking? Because there was a new sound. Tinkling. Strange tinkling. Like a maraca of metal instead of beans or beads. Did I ever tell you when a bot commented about Vor, one of my songs? It was weird. Oh yeah, bot. A likely story. Alright. And again, internet culture. AI is being trained. Susan is training degenerates on the internet. I wouldn't surprise me. A loud thunk against my door made me leap up. I had to stop. Like, something caught in my teeth for a second. I don't know what it was. Egg. Okay. A loud thunk against my door made me leap up. Turning on the flashlight, I managed to run to the light switch and flick it on as well. With a nicely trembling hand, I opened the door. What I saw will never leave my mind. There was the source of my fear, the thing that had somehow invaded my home. An oddly small, wolf-like creature, like a starving child with skin that was too pale. It was like a corpse dropped in water, for its skin tinged with blue. Every vein was visible. Oh, how I wanted to gag at the sight, but it gets worse. Strategically placed in this demented creature's flesh, long metal nails were embedded. Through the tips of its fingers and toes, sticking out of its neck and shoulders, down to its chest and out of its eyes, they were everywhere. How loudly I screamed, I didn't know. Would anyone hear it through the fog surrounding my house? Would I hear it? I couldn't stop staring. The dried crackling blood of decayed flesh brought up my earlier meal, and a gushing hot river of vomit poured from my mouth on the ground. I backed up as the creature took a step. Its linking hair was missing in chunks, and as it stepped closer, its feet dragged upon the floor, the nails in them making a scratching sound. Why I had to keep my room in a state of continual chaos I didn't know, but the mess was astounding. Of course I fell. Stumbling back, I stared in horror at the dead thing. It didn't move right, I realized. It didn't just walk. Its motions were snapping and disjointed. One foot dragged behind it, and the other one advanced towards me. In its hand there was a heavy rusted hammer, dripping with what I hoped was water. It was solely rust-colored. I couldn't see it, but in the other there was a plastic grocery bag that sagged and poked out with the weight within it, as if someone had hung a porcupine from a diaper. That is some interesting. That's a very interesting, not a simile right there. I would have never thought of that. I felt the wall go against my back. The creature moved forward. I was paralyzed with fear at the sight of it. It was so grotesque. In front of me, it stopped. I noticed the puncture marks upon its tiny calves where the nails were, and I felt a strange sense of pity. The bag in its hand split a little, and the sight of what was within made me let out an audible and most likely bile-scented groan. A nail jutted out. I cried loudly as the thing pounced upon me. As I felt this first nail go into my eye, it was worse. Through the blood blocking my vision, I could see its tiny mouth pulled back with a wily tooth smile, and nails in its lips, making them split and gush of rotten black blood onto me. I moaned in pain again as another nail went to my second eye. I blindly swatted, but it was to no avail. Perhaps it would be over soon. Perhaps death would be better than being tormented by this rotten thing. But still, the nails entered. I cried out loudly, especially when I was dragged, but I couldn't see where, but damn, it hurt. It's gone now. The nail child. I don't know where it went. I don't know. Somewhere. But I know somewhere. It'll be coming out at 3 o'clock, and so will I. I think you might want to check your clock, because it looks like this bag in my hand is about to split. I'm so excited to see you. Yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah, just I honestly, my major complaint with the story is the kind of flowery descriptive language that this person used. And then again, I think it kind of fits. This is it kind of goes full force into the kind of supernatural shenanigans, and I think the flowery language and the kind of colorful descriptions and whatnot might be to its benefit. It's not something that I particularly like. Like I said before, I like narration that is very grounded, typically, but that's just a matter of personal preference. Actually, now that I think about it, the end it kind of leads into the ending, where this person has obviously been converted into whatever this bizarre nail creature was. This person probably has like a very twisted and weirdly thematical way of thinking now. Like something in its head is like his head has been distorted and twisted to where it probably thinks a certain way, and I think it kind of fits. So again, it's a matter of personal preference. I don't know what to say. Like, I think that I don't know. I think that pacing could have been a little bit more better, and I use this every time, but make the story just a teensy bit longer. Like I know the Gristers. I point to the Gristers as an example of something that where we have enough time spent in the realm of the mundane, where the sudden shift to outright horror makes it all the more unnerving and unsettling for us. And I think it's here. Like I think it sets up a little bit of a mundane tone where it's like, oh yeah, I'm on a computer, and I hear scratching, and then all of a sudden I decided to investigate, so I did. Well, it kind of makes me wonder, like the moment, like I don't know what the implication was where this creature apparently was following this person, like into their place of work and whatnot. Like, and now I think about it, was that really necessary? Like to mention that they work at the can factory. Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't really know what to say about that. It feels like something that if you were to cut it out of the story entirely, I don't think a lot gets lost in translation. Although the I don't even know if you need the implication that's following them, because the primary setting is still in the house, and the the change in setting to the place, the factory where he works, like it's so brief that again I felt like it could have been dropped entirely. For the most, like I said, I think the story's all right. Classic story, yeah. A lot of people predictable towards the ending. It always has to be 3 a.m. I think I'm missing something. Like happening at 3 a.m. because it even shows right here at 3 a.m. This means something. I don't think I'm intelligent enough to really grasp it. Like that's one of the reasons why I'm kind of glad that I did the Ben Drown stream. A lot of the like subtle little oddities within the narrative make a lot more sense when people like explain certain things to me. Like I very much enjoyed the story, but there was a moment where I was reading Ben Drown, like the horror scene that's depicted with the explanation of the moon, the dream, where he's talking about the moon people like mutilating him. I thought that was kind of out of touch and over the top and almost needless. And then someone explained away because a later portion of the story justifies the kind of over the top and needless nature of the dream, to where it actually kind of made it more unsettling for me. The art in the comments is nice, but I still don't know if it's a good depiction of the creature. Yeah, like the whole point of the nail creature is that like it's supposed to be like actual like hammer and nails. Like I'm imagining like something out of Cry of Fear. Hold on. Cry if fear. Cry if you fear, chat. If you feel fear, it's okay to cry. It takes the sad out of you. Cry of Fear. Enemies. By the way, Cry of Fear is free. It's a pretty cool game. Like when I think of the fucking nail monster, I think of like one of these guys. Not the Suicider. I would love to see like a real remaster of Cry of Fear, like this guy. This is what I think of right here. I would love to see like an actual remaster of that game. Ben Drown was good, though I'm not sure about the ARG that happened afterwards. Need to rewatch Night Mind video to remember what happened on there. Yeah, I actually did cover that. I was kind of confused because I always assumed it was just like more entries to the story, but apparently it's like all ARG, and I wasn't sure how to approach that for the stream itself. Like I didn't want to just sit there like watching videos. What was this? The police Chad. Virgins. Okay, that's cute. Okay, enough of that. Enough of this. How long is this? The Disappearance of Ashley Cat. This is a pretty long story. I think we can cover this in a timely manner. I want to like kind of have it crescendo everything off. I'll read one more story, and then I'll head off on that. So, let's see. What can we cover here? For peripheral vision, ghost animation, the GIF. I think I read that on another stream, and it was terrible. God's Mouth, Smash Mouth, Rockstar, Game On, Go, Hey, Oh yeah, let's read God's mouth. I'm glad there are people who can put the ARG in understandable terms. What does ARG stand for again? I know I heard it before, and I was very confused. Hold on, ARG. Yes, Target, Wells Fargo. Alternate reality game. Okay. Get that extra credits bullshit out of my face. Okay, is there a credit here? Oh, here it is, by Abracadabra. I love that is I'm gonna give you story of the year just for that name. Abracadabra is the greatest thing ever. And I'm actually very upset that I didn't think of it first. Abracadabra. It's like it's like that episode of Rick and Morty, like Penn Sylvester. It's like, god damn, that's brilliant. God's mouth. I huffed and puffed under my breath as I stared into the God's mouth. I felt like the big bad wolf was ready to interrupt with the three innocent. I felt like the three. Okay. I felt like the big bad wolf ready to interrupt the three innocent pigs as they hurriedly fortified their makeshift homes. I grinned at this thought and then turned my head to look for Margaret. She was a couple feet down the hill from the entrance of the cave, holding a walking stick up to her petite breast. "Hurry up!" I called down to her. I turned back to the cave, still grinning. An old rotted sign outside read, "God's Mouth Cave. Keep out!" What a tired cliche. Margaret finally made it to the entrance and stood beside me, almost doubled over and out of breath. I looked down and smiled. "Check it out," I slammed. "God's Mouth. I wonder what Jesus ain't sees." I chuckled to myself. Margaret was less than amused. Give me the damn water bottle," she said. I don't know what these accents are. She said, exasperated. The open bottle met her lips, and for a moment I felt peaceful in a way watching her drink the water. Actually, I take that back. The peaceful comment, I mean. It was more a feeling that was sort of hard to put my finger on for a given name. But I could settle for a nice content. Content seemed to be one of those words that manifests itself when natural human words seem to fail. Again, another cliche, but it felt good to feel strange, mixed up, sort of happy for once. I can't do accents. Leave me alone apart from the music. I sighed and turned my flashlights on. All of my flashlights, plural. All 50 of them. I turned them all on individually. And it's that a luminescent flashlight that's like the brightest one in the world. I have multiple ones. We're gonna die of radiation poisoning. I pointed it into the cave. Black. God's mouth. This seemed like the antithesis of the Holy Spirit. I turned to Margaret. "You ready?" I asked. She was finally starting to stand straight up. She nodded. I clapped a friendly hand to her back and we walked into the God's mouth. I don't know why people do go spelunking. Good for them, I guess. But I don't know if I'm consider myself claustrophobic, but I can't imagine it. That's one of the things I know Jacob hates The Descent, and I think The Descent is overrated too. He hates it. I think it's all right. I hate the plot of Descent, but I like the tight, the shots of them going through the cave, and it feels unsettling because you really feel closed and entrapped. And I look at that thing and why would you ever want to go spelunking? It looks like any second you'll die. The inside was not unlike the preview I had glimpsed from outside with my flashlight. Dark, dismal, and endlessly black. It seemed to stretch endlessly, no matter how I positioned my flashlight. The rocky terrain was damp and imposing. The last natural light slowly disappeared behind Margaret and I as we made our way deeper and deeper. I found it strange how soft and compelling the world around me had just now appeared, despite the stalactites and stalagmites and other various rocky formations being so jagged. It seemed that even amongst the pointed teeth of God, I could lay down and rest here forever. It was comfortable. Apparently Margaret didn't agree. She shivered uncomfortably under my arm. I raised my eyebrow. "Need your coat?" I asked. I tried to look at her and make a non-verbal communication as explicit as possible until I realized that we were lost in the inky blackness of the mouth. I bit my lip and waited, but she didn't respond. For a couple of minutes, we walked in silence. She stopped and stood motionless. I stopped too. "Why the hell are we even here?" she said. She sounded irritated. I shrugged, more to appease myself than her, and I shoved my flashlight under my face. Bladed shadows obscured half my face, and the other half illuminated in a wretched mask. "Spooky!" I cried, chuckling. She didn't move. I sighed. "I thought you wanted to go," I said, and I noticed how my voice echoed against the cave walls at any volume. I began again, scratching my chin. "You did say how you wanted to go see some nature for our vacation, and you did sound impressed when I told you about visiting the Mammoth Caves a couple years back, so..." My voice trailed off. I could sense her irritation. I remember Deep Blue Sea and Samuel L. Jackson was in it. Yeah. Wait, what was it? I heard Deep Blue Sea is actually really good. I haven't seen it. Yeah, too many risks for spelunking, but good for those who are actually adventurous. Then again, like, I'm a coward, so I'm a coward with a crippling fear of death. So it naturally goes without saying. I can't. I said it before on stream. I can't go outside when there's a thunderstorm. Like, no matter how bad it is. Like, living in Florida, make my phobia of lightning crippling to the point where I couldn't walk outside to the store. Like, it was like a half a block away to walk to the store in a thunderstorm, and I couldn't manage it. I'd have to wait for the storm to stop before I could go. Although, in my defense, I lived in Florida at the time. No, she said. I frowned. "You wanted to go here. I wanted to go to a beach or something. But no, a cave! A cave, Nathan!" She sounded more like the big bad wolf now. "Oh, you have this weird fetish for spelunking or something, but I don't really want to be dragged in it. Don't get me wrong, I love to go on a trip and get into nature and the fresh air, but this..." I could hear her arm flail and gesture around the thick air. "This is cave air, not fresh air. This air is practically fermenting. Plus, isn't this illegal? Can we please just leave?" We both just stood there. The only sound I could be heard was the electricity in the air being stifled and smothered by the damp atmosphere. Finally, I began to walk. I didn't hear Margaret follow behind me, but I kept moving forward. "Nathan," she said. "Nathan, please stop." So I stopped. "I'm sorry," she said. I could hear her moving closer to me. "I'm tired. I'm not used to running and climbing around and the like. I'm just tired." "It's okay," I said. She shook my arm. "Really, it's fine." I shook my head. "Which way is out?" "I don't remember." I could feel Margaret physically pause. Neither of us could remember. Somehow, in the confusion of our argument, I'd forgotten in which way we'd been moving. Idiot, I thought to myself. I should have bought a goddamn rope or something to trail from the entrance of the cave. I had to take action, so without much thought, I turned 180 degrees and said, "This way." We walked for what seemed like hours. My feet were tired and sore. I could hear Margaret's groans from behind me. She held my hand tightly. I felt terrible. This is my fault. I'm not good with lightning storms either, though. I'm afraid Surge will fire my electron. No, I'm afraid of, I have a paranoid fear of dying. I think my fear of lightning is more justified than most people. At least I have a phobia of something that can kill me instantaneously. Oh, shit! I shouted. What was I? Oh, I skipped. Then I froze. Hey, I said. Put your hand out. Feel this rock. I could hear Margaret's bare palm pressing against the stone. Isn't this, like, abnormally warm? I said. She didn't say anything. I began to work my way along the wall, feeling it as it went, shining a flashlight in front of me. Suddenly I felt a sharp pain in my head as the ceiling of the God's Mouth met my scalp. Oh, shit! I shouted. Oh, Nathan, are you okay? Margaret asked. She seemed on the verge of panic now. I'm fine. Please, calm down. We'll get out of here soon, I promise. I started again, pointing my flashlight upwards to the ceiling above me. It seemed to get narrower. That was strange. Listen, Margaret, babe, I said through clenched teeth. I think we need to turn around. Margaret sighed next to me. Again, we walked for a decent length. I kept my flashlight pointed upwards this time. Sure enough, the space in the cave seemed to become smaller and smaller. If there was any resonating light left in God's mouth aside from my flashlight, I'm sure Margaret would have been able to see the whites of my eyes spreading in panic. We were completely lost. I let go of Margaret's hand and began feverishly feeling my way along the walls. No, Nathan! I heard her shout. I kept going. We had to get out. If we were lost, no one would be able to find us. I kept feeling along the wall, and I abruptly hit a corner. Fuck, I said. Margaret, this way seems to be a dead end. This seems to be a dead end. I sprung around on my heel. Margaret? No answer. Shit. I began to repeat the process again, almost running as I felt the wall run past my fingertips. Cool, damp rocks and jagged spears. Finally, I found myself in a corner again. Fuck! I shouted. Margaret! I was belting her name out now. The corner of the cave's maw where I'd been thwarted so many times already. I heard a noise. It sounded like a muffled static from a television. I pressed my ears against the rock. It seemed to be getting even warmer now. I heard the faint sounds of Margaret on the other side of the rock. She was screaming, No. I said, No. I began running haphazardly into the walls around me. With the dawning realization came a new wave of sheer horror. There was no entrance. There was no exit. Only these four corners surround me. I could feel blood begin to trickle from the cut where I managed to get by bashing my body into the cave walls. They were closing in on me. They were coming in for the kill, and soon they would be pressing into my skull and crushing my rib cage. I sat there for hours, waiting for death. My flashlight became dim and blinking. Finally, I felt the soft touch of the rocky walls pressing against my back. I began to cry as I lay down on the ground. I let my flashlight roll on the small hills of stone. As I quietly lay prone, tears dripping down my face, I turned and looked at the flashlight. Its last fading gleams of light pointed at something not far away from my face. I squinted at the darkness. My eyes widened, and I felt tears fall even harder from my face. The rocks were piercing my skin, and now blood was dripping at all sides. There, in the last light of my flashlight, was the appetizer. The spotlight shone on the What is happening right now? Oh, I saw like a flashing in the corner of my eye. I was wondering what the fuck that was. There, in the last light of my flashlight, was the appetizer. The spotlight shone on a hand whose fingernails were painted red, and I screamed in agony as I watched God's mouth chew its latest meal. I love this. I love this story. God damn it. This dude. Did they make a Vor creepypasta, you bastard? Why you gotta ruin it for me? This story is actually really good. God. Sorry for being 3 hours late. I was busy 100%ing on the Blind Forest, which has now been done. Well, you're too late. We got 30 minutes left, and then I'm gonna stop the stream. Agent Paradox, you ruined the stream, guys. I'll see you later, brother. Pottery music. Yeah, this was really good. Like, this was a lot better than I was expecting. God, it's like again, like stories about caves, and it painted a vivid image of like claustrophobia and the room closing in on you. And I love the imagery and The characters felt relatable, and I side more with Margaret because why the fuck did you bring us to the spooky cave? And the fact that he kind of was immature about it and immediately realized it was still like this is great. I dare say this is as close to a perfect creepypasta as you can get. It's just a very simple, straightforward story. Like, and it was kind of like one of those twists where it's like you kind of see it coming. The name of the story itself alludes to it, but as I was going along for the ride, and it gradually like gets more and more tense, and it actually works. It actually works. This is a very good story. I actually regret not saving this for another time, for a little thing on its own. So Abracadabra. This story's pretty old too. Hold on, let me see how far we can go back. Can you sort the comments by for when it was initially? What was Abracadabra writing now? I really want to know. I know that there's probably people complaining about the point of view. Like, I don't care. Like, it was a solid narrative. It was a really good story. Okay, 2014. So this story's got a little bit of weight to it. It's pretty old. Why don't people more take cues from this story instead of Jeff the Killer and all this shit? Story about like actual feelings of claustrophobia. God. That made me happy. I'm happy now. And we're going to move on to one good story to another one, if I remember right. So this is the disappearance of Ashley, Kansas. Let me see if I can, again, no credit. I appreciate that. I would very much like to give credit to the authors when it's actually due. Ted the I don't think I've ever read Ted the Caver. Is that an actual creepy? I've heard the name Ted the Caver, but I've never read it myself. Hold on. Oh, here it is. What? Welcome to the page of Ted. Okay. What is this? This is a pretty interesting format. I'll probably gonna bookmark this and say this for another time. Hold on. Let's go back to the main introduction and bookmark that. Probably read that with the lads. So this is the disappearance of Ashley, Kansas. Let me just take a sip of my delicious orange beverage here. I say yippee when I drink my delicious orange soda. Sometime during the night of August 16, 1952, the small town of Ashley, Kansas ceased to exist. At 3:28 a.m. on August 17, 1952, a magnitude 7.9 earthquake was measured by the United States Geological Survey. The earthquake itself was felt throughout the state and most of the Midwest. The epicenter was determined to be directly under Ashley, Kansas. When state law enforcement arrived at what should have been the outskirts of the farming community, they found a smoldering, burning fissure in the earth measuring about 1,000 yards in length and approximately 500 yards in width. The depth of the fissure was never determined. After 12 days, the statewide and local search for the missing 679 residents of Ashley, Kansas was called off by the Kansas state government at 9:15 p.m. on the night of August August 20... I can't read numbers out loud. I don't know why. August 29, 1952. All 679 residents were assumed to be dead. At 2:27 a.m. on August 30th, 1952, a magnitude 7.5 earthquake was measured by the United States Geological Survey. The epicenter was situated in what used to be the location of Ashley, Kansas. When law enforcement investigated at 5:32 p.m., they reported that a fissure of the earth had closed. In the 8 days leading up to the disappearance of the town and its 679 residents, bizarre and unexplainable events were reported by dozens of residents in Ashley, Kansas, and law enforcement surrounding the area. Let me read that again. In the 8 days leading up to the disappearance of the town and its 679 residents, bizarre and unexplainable events were reported by dozens of residents in Ashley, Kansas, and law enforcement from the surrounding area. On the evening of August 8, 1952, at 7:13 p.m., a resident by the name of Gabriel Jonathan reported a strange sight in the sky above Ashley. The town itself, having no official branch of law enforcement, called the police station in the neighboring town of Hayes. Gabriel reported what appeared to be a small black opening in the sky. Within the next 15 minutes, the Hayes police station became overwhelmed with dozens of phone calls, all reporting the same phenomenon. The phenomenon was never reported by any neighboring communities. The decision was made to send the trooper to Ashley to investigate the matter the following morning. At 7:54 a.m. on the morning of August 9, 1952, Hayes police officer Alan Mace radioed the Hayes police station. He reported that, despite following the one-way road leading to Ashley, he had become lost. According to the report, good soda. I myself am sleeping under 4 cases of watermelon Mountain Dew. You know what I'm really in the mood to try because I was watching the commercials for it. Pepsi Twist. I don't remember the last time I had Pepsi Twist. I don't even remember. I remember it existing. I don't remember if I've actually ever had it. Yo, Pepsi with a lemon, is like Pepsi with lemon in it. At 7:54 a.m. It became okay. There we go. According to his report, the road continued along its normal path, but somehow ended back up in Hayes. Officer Mace went out to add that the road was never curved or bent in any direction. At 9:15 a.m., 7 of the town's 10 police cars were sent to investigate the situation, and all members of the team came to the same conclusion. The only road leading to Ashley stopped leading to Ashley, but instead led back to Hayes. Phone calls continued to pour into the Hayes police station, all reporting the black opening in the sky continued to grow in size. All callers were advised to remain inside and to not travel outside unless absolutely necessary. At 8:17 p.m., Mrs. Elaine Cantor reported that her neighbors, Mr. and Mrs. Milton, and their 2 children, Jeffrey and Brooke, missing. According to Miss Cantor's phone call, the Miltons attempted to leave town with their family car early in the evening. They never returned. Law enforcement officials from Hayes never reported the car or individuals coming up on a one-way road. At 7:38 a.m. on the morning of August 10, 1952, phone calls from Ashley to Hayes Police Department reported that the town was in total darkness. The sun had never risen. At 10:15 a.m., at the request of Hayes law enforcement, a helicopter from Topeka, Kansas flew over the region in which Ashley, Kansas stood. The town was never observed from air. At 12:43 p.m. on the afternoon of August 11, 1952, Miss Phoebe Danilewski called into the Hayes police station. She reported that her daughter, Erica, had begun to have conversations with her father, who died 3 years prior in a drunk driving accident. To her concern, Miss Donalewski reported that Erica was attempting to go outside into the dark to, quote-unquote, join them. Over the course of the next 12 hours, a reported 329 phone calls were placed into the Hayes police station, all describing similar phenomena with children of the town. The following morning of August 12, 1952, the situation became dire. During the middle of the night, all 217 children in the town of Ashley, Kansas disappeared. A reported 421 phone calls were placed into the Hayes Police Department. Unable to be of any useful assistance, Hayes law enforcement instructed all callers to remain inside and avoid any and all attempts of finding the missing children. At 5:19 p.m. on the evening of August 13, 1952, Ashley elderly man Scott Lutz reported a growing distant fire in the south. According to the description, the fire seemed to turn the distant black into the bright red orange that seemed to go. According to his description, the fire seemed to turn the distant black into bright red orange that seemed to extend high into the sky. Throughout the rest of the day, as the calls continued in, stating that the fire, in addition to moving north, now seemed to come out of the black sky. No fire was ever witnessed by any of the neighboring communities or law enforcement officials. Reports continued until 12:09 a.m. on the morning of August 14, 1952. The last phone call, placed by Mr. Benjamin Edicott, reported that the fire in the sky had grown so intense that it appeared as daytime over the town. The phone call ended abruptly. From the phone call placed by Benjamin Sherman Edicott, well, here's me with my store brand lemonade. There's nothing wrong with that, brother. Benjamin. Just hold on, wait. Continue silence. Yeah, I see something to the south. It looks like... The next phone call wouldn't be placed until the following evening. The following is in well, let me see if I can do something real quick. Can I... Advanced audio properties. Is there a way to make my audio sound all compressed like a radio almost? Audio filters. Ooh. Hold on. I need to experiment. I don't think I can do this on the... I need to experiment when I can actually listen to it. I'm going to try this out the next time I do a stream. That would be cool. Next phone call would be placed to the following evening. The following is an entire transcript of the final phone call received by the Hayes Police Department out of the town of Ashley, Kansas. It was placed at 9:46 p.m. on the evening of August 15, 1952. It was a recorded phone call. The officer on duty, Officer Peter Welsh. The caller was now identified as Mrs. April Foster. Begin phone call. Hayes Police Department. Hello? Yeah. Hello? Yes, hello? Ma'am, who am I speaking with? My name is April. April Foster. Please, sir, you need to help me. What's happening, ma'am? Last night they came back. Ma'am, I need you to... Last night they came back! Ma'am, I'm gonna need you to calm down and speak clearly. What happened? Who came back? Everyone. Everyone? That came in the fire. What do you mean, everyone? My son. I saw my son last night. He was walking down the street. He was burned. Jesus Christ, he was burned. Ma'am, he died last year. I raised him since he was a baby. It was just me and him. I told him to watch for cars when he rode his bike, but he never listened. Ma'am, what you're saying isn't making any sense. You said everyone came back? Are you fucking listening to me? Everyone came back. Everyone who died or went missing, they're back. And they're looking for us. He said, Mommy, I'm okay now. I can see I can walk again. Where are you, Mommy? I just want to see you. Ma'am, where are you right now? Are you safe? I'm hiding, just like everyone else. We saw them coming through the fields, and some people opened their doors for them, and God, the screaming. I don't know what happened to them, but the houses caught fire, and they caved in. I have my curtains drawn. I'm hiding in the closet right now, and... Ma'am, is everything alright? Are you okay? Ma'am? Oh my God. Ma'am? Something just came in. Ma'am? Ma'am, just stay quiet. Don't make a sound. Ma'am? Mommy? He came inside. Stay absolutely still. Don't leave. Mommy? Mommy, where are you hiding? Stay quiet. Sound of heavy footsteps laughing. I found you, Mommy! Indiscernible screaming and noise. Ma'am? Ma'am? Following the morning, at 6:55 a.m., law enforcement officials of Hayes Police Department arrived at the location of Ashley, Kansas. A smoldering, burning fissure in the earth was all that remained. Yeah, this is as good as I remember. I remember really liking the story, and it was a very solid read. Very unsettling, a very unsettling story. Good old-fashioned kind of Lovecraftian horror, where the fear generated is a result of basically the uncertainty. There's no definitive answers. Nothing's outright said. We have a lingering hint of context clues, I guess. Just a little bit. Just enough to where I think most readers could probably come to their own conclusions. Well, I think like it's still vague enough to where like it leaves you wondering, and I think something that's kind of not focused on when it comes to stories that have that kind of bend, where it's like the fear of the unknown, like weird supernatural horror, is that you don't necessarily need to have the focus on what's happening and the phenomenon itself should be the primary focus of the story. Like, you should be more concerned with the effects of what's happening than the cause of it. Like, we should want to discern the cause of what's happening, but that's on the back burner. Like, seeing what's happening and how it's affecting people should be the crux of the horror itself. And this is a story that really runs with that. Like, one of the things I loved about Lovecraftian horror is that, well, aside from the obvious feeling of helplessness in the face of like this overwhelming threats that kind of find their way into our world, it's an emphasis on people coping with and dealing with the threat as it's presented. And it's too many people, they always feel the need to, like, I think let's see one of those stories up here, Russian sleep experiment. It definitely kind of went too far in trying to explain certain things, and I think I've already made it clear that I didn't like the weird little speech at the end of that story, and how it kind of felt tacked on, because of, like, you get the sense that the person who initially wrote that story wanted something to cap their story off, and they wanted to cap it off in a dramatic fashion. It was kind of weak. It kind of reminds me of like a fair amount of Stephen King's story. Like, it reminds me of The Mist, definitely, where an unknown phenomenon, and like, you know, there's a crack in the earth and these creatures come out. We don't know if it's like a weird act of God. We don't know where these creatures come from, or if they're even like natural in nature. If they're non-supernatural in nature. That sounds even worse. If they're even actual like creatures and not some kind of otherworldly menace, is what I meant to say. Like, and that's not really all that important. What's important is that we're like subtle. seeing this story from the perspective of characters who have no choice but to deal with it. And the helplessness they feel is the helplessness we would probably feel in their shoes. That's one of the reasons I like it so much. That's one of the reasons I like this story. And unfortunately, there's no credit here, so I can't give kudos to the person who wrote it. How old is the story? Because it's on Historical Archive, so I'm assuming that it's relatively old. 2015, damn. So we capped this stream off with two good stories. That's an achievement and a half if I ever seen one. So I think I'm gonna call it quits for now, because Fish Stick on a Stick is gonna start streaming soon. I want to be a part of that. If you don't know, you're not subscribed to Fish Stick on a Stick, do it. He's very good. He is my homie. Go subscribe to his gaming channel, because he makes really good, high quality gaming videos. And yeah, I think that's about it. I think I've done all I could possibly ever do in my entire life now. And if that sounds depressing, that's only because it absolutely is. Oh, I want to do something with this too. Can I put filters on? Can I put no. Oh fuck. I didn't mean to do that. No, get back up here. Okay, right here. Back this. Now I want to see if I can put filters on this. What a color correction. Let's make this spooky too. And red is scary. So we're gonna put that there. Yeah. Now you can't see anything. Oh, that's stupid. Okay. So we're gonna end the stream. Hope you guys had a good time. And again, once again, I feel the need to end the stream as I always do. So if you guys will excuse me, I'm going to call it close for a day. I hope you have a good one.
Aquí se mueve la candela, aquí se baila como quiera. Aquí se baila la candela, aquí se baila como quiera. La tierra va a temblar cuando yo me mueva. Mi baile bailará, aquí se mueve la candela, aquí se baila como quiera. Aquí se baila la candela, aquí se baila como quiera. Prepárate, es un son, que te pareja. Buscará todos sus parejas, y el que no enfadará. Aquel tipo se para un rato, aquel no está sin zapatos. Vuelve y corre por todas partes, ya no sabe qué hacer. Dice el tipo que corre un poco, esos almanes la cadera. Vuelve y corre por todas partes, ya no sabe qué hacer. Dice el tipo que corre un poco, esos almanes la cadera. Aquí se mueve la candela, aquí se baila como quiera. Aquí se baila la candela, aquí se baila como quiera. Aquí se mueve la candela, aquí se baila como quiera. Aquí se baila la candela, aquí se baila como quiera.